What's going on, everybody? It's Q from Retro Q Gaming, and as I sit here taking a break from the current game I'm playing, which is what you're seeing here, it begs me to think of something, to reflect back on what I've been thinking and what I've noticed in regards to this game. Now, obviously, this game is Final Fantasy 15 Glorious PC Gaming Master Race Edition, and I've been a very, very vocal opponent of Final Fantasy 15 in general. I've made it very, very public knowledge that I have a lot of distaste and disdain for this game. And that is really, really apparent, and it's manifesting itself in, well, possibly only one way that I can actually properly discern from this. So what am I talking about anyway? Well, I've got about close to 20 hours into Final Fantasy 15 Glorious PC Gaming Master Race Edition, of course. And you may be thinking, you know what, Q, that's a decent amount of time. You've made some progress, you're clearly enjoying it, and that's actually not the case. Not the case at all. I've determined to set myself to finish this game, just for the sake of it, just because of what it is. Potentially the biggest problem that there is that the game just doesn't grip me. No matter what it is, it just doesn't grip me. Now, this was also the case when I was trying to play it on consoles, but obviously there was, on PS4 Pro, there was a wealth of performance issues, not to mention some questionable visuals. But overall, the game just never gripped me, be it on PS4 Pro or even here on PC. And that shows itself in one absolute telltale way. Whenever I sit down to play Final Fantasy 15, I can probably only play it for maybe 1, or if I'm lucky, 2 hours at a time. I just start to get bored, no matter what I'm doing. If I'm going through the story, doing some side quests, exploring the world, or any combination of the above. No matter what I'm doing and what's going on, it just doesn't grip me, and I just don't feel interested or invested in it to play for more than maybe 1 to 2 hours. Over the last couple of days, I've kind of reflected on all of that, and it brought up a couple of important questions in my mind when it comes to gaming. Those questions, of course, being, what exactly is it about games that grips people, and why? Now, of course, various different games, various different genres and whatever can grip people for different reasons. Some people will be completely gripped and immersed by the likes of a story, some will be gameplay, some will be a world, design, art, narrative, whatever it is, or any combination of those. And of course, none of them are wrong. But it made me look back and think, really, I'm lucky to get 1, maybe 2 games a year that properly grip me, for whatever reason it is. Let me give you a quick comparison. In 2018, off the top of my head, I had only 2 games properly grip me, that I felt at least anyway. Dragon Quest XI, extremely high quality JRPG, my favourite genre. Between the world, the gameplay, and the story, that one just had me down straight away. Just like Shadow of the Colossus. Gameplay was very, very unique. The world design was fantastic. The story was okay, in my opinion. But either way, the gameplay and the art design of the world, that was enough to keep me going. 2017, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. The gameplay kept me going for the majority of that, along with the exploration, simply because there was basically no story in that game. And of course, still in 2017, Persona 5. I don't even need to go into detail about that JRPG masterpiece. And don't worry, I'm not going to go counting all the years back, but I did want to get all the way back to 2016 for a very specific reason. Because I can only think of, off the top of my head, one game in 2016 that properly gripped me. That game was Doom 2016. That's right, a first-person shooter. And you may be wondering, Q, wait a minute, you've complained a lot about first-person shooters. You're technically true. I have complained about what first-person shooters morphed and changed and molded into from probably around the mid-2000s all the way up to, well, Doom 2016. Let's have a quick little history lesson real quick. I grew up in the late 80s, early 90s playing these games. When I was playing old school first-person shooters to me are games like Doom, are games like Quake. Fast-paced, balls to the wall, crazy amounts of action all over the place. And ever since the mid-2000s, that's actually changed. Companies, developers, publishers, whoever, have actually been using first-persons and first-person shooters to change them into more of a whole wannabe realism or narrative-style story, an actual storytelling job, rather than something that was crazy gameplay to me. And of course that progressed and progressed and progressed, and typically you had the game quality in first-person shooters go down lower and lower and lower. Of course, all of that culminating in BioShock Infinite, the absolute disaster piece. So yeah, naturally I was bored of first-person shooters. I could say, I'd play a lot of them, but ever since maybe Modern Warfare 1, Everything was just kind of meh, up until Doom in 2016. When I sat down and played Doom in 2016, about 2 weeks after launch, because I was specifically waiting for my GTX 1080 to arrive, and that was the first proper game I played on this computer when I built it. I sat down to play Doom 2016, and then in what felt like about an hour, it turned out I had played for almost 8 hours straight. And that, my friends, is when something actually truly grips you. You just keep going. The world completely fades out around you. Nothing matters. You're completely immersed, and your enjoyment and experience is off the chain. So naturally, when I recommended a first-person shooter and I highly praised that game when it first launched, all my friends took notice. They were like, whoa, hang on. Q is recommending a first-person shooter. This must be good. And then of course they all played it and they all loved it because, well, I've great taste in games, obviously. But you see my point. I could easily play this game, a game that gripped me completely. I just started playing and the hours flew by. Time just melted away. And something like that is not happening for Final Fantasy 15 for me. And that brings me to the more important question here. What is it about games that grips you, and why, if you can explain it? Are you one for a certain type of gameplay, a certain type of narrative storytelling, or just a story in general? The art direction, world design, or what's the deal? Let me know all of that, as well as a couple of little examples of something in the last maybe couple of years or something notable for you that completely gripped you and immersed you in such a way that I've pretty much just described. I'm thinking Resident Evil 2 remake is going to be my first one of these this year, but we'll see how it goes. Anyway, let me know all that good stuff in the comments section below. Hit the appropriate button to let me know how I did on the video. And while you're at it, why not head on over and hit that subscribe button. Let's get those numbers up to 850 for the promised and, of course, much beloved 100% blind, no hand holding Dank Souls 3 live stream event. And up to 1,000 just to get that game room tour. And hell, even hit that little notification bell. Granted, trying to get a notification from YouTube about, say, a live stream or a video upload or whatever is a whole other story. But hey, at least you can say you tried, am I right? As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the rest of the videos in my channel.